How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, as you may see through the timeline, I've been hammering out the prison officer TikTok videos. Shameful, embarrassing, pointless, unprofessional, pathetic, out of time. Social distancing's not being applied either, which is obviously as recommended by Public Health England. Now, these videos, guys, they're a laugh a minute, personally. I can't, as bad as they are, I can't stop watching them. And the reason that I'm posting them, guys, is these have all been filmed during this prison lockdown, right? During, obviously, the country's in lockdown, but prisons are in lockdown. Now, like I said, some prisoners, when I was in Strangeways, for example, I was locked up 22 to 23 hours a day, right? That's just how it went. But when I was in like Cat B at Forest Bank, we used to get a lot of association, especially on a weekend. We get 5-6 hours on a weekend. Prisoners are spending 23 hours to 23 and a half hours a day locked behind the door, right? Now, they're getting if you've got prisoners with significant mental health issues, they might have paranoid personality disorders, they might be paranoid schizophrenics. They're reading on the news and watching the news and seeing this highly contagious, highly deadly virus killing people, indiscriminatory killing people. Like I said, it doesn't take any prisoners at all. And then you look at prisons and the breeding grounds for infections, diseases, viruses. Prisons are dirty. Lots of prisons have got problems with vermin and stuff like that, cockroaches, things like that, right? Then you look at the fact that prison officers are not being given personal protective equipment. Then you look at the fact that prisoners are not being given personal protective equipment. Prisoners locked behind the door, having to get on the buzzer, begging to get on the phone if they've not got in-cell telephones, begging to get a shower, begging to get some exercise, begging for medication, begging to see the nurse, begging to see a doctor. Do you know what I'm saying? Complaints been ignored, buzzers just been reset without properly investigating what the prisoners' needs are at this time. It's a very, very nervous, anxious time for prisoners and prisoners' families. It's also a very nervous time for prison officers as well. But when you look at these videos, and they look like they're having a whale at a time. And like I said, you've got to take into consideration, prisoners' families, guys, are very nervous. They're very anxious. You've got to think, guys, right? Unfortunately, this is the reality. There are prisoners in the system right now that are dying, and their families might have not seen them for a month, right? And like I said, not every prisoner's family get to see their loved one every week. Why? Because they might be, say that a prisoner's up at Franklin, right, up in the northeast. They might live near Brighton or Cornwall, right? And because of the financial burden that's put on them, they can't afford to get from Cornwall, from London, from Brighton, from Norwich, up to Franklin, or, I don't know, like HMP Ford. They can't get from the northeast down to there and stuff. So it works both ways. So what I'm saying to you is, not a prisoner doesn't always get visits every week, but depending on the location of the prison and how close they are with friends and family and stuff like that. So there's prisoners that will die in the system that have not seen their loved ones for weeks, for months, right? And then when the funeral comes, oh, only a small number of people can go. I saw a post earlier, right, online about how can somebody do a live video from a funeral so that other members of the family can watch from home on their Facebook, on a Facebook Live. This is the world we're living in, guys. And like I said, prisoners are away from their families. Prisoners are away from their children. It's a very, very nervous, very worrying, very anxious time. And like I've said, the true number of prison deaths within our prison is being covered up. And a lot of people are like, Cody, why would you say that? Why would you say that? I'm nobody, right? But I speak to a lot of journalists, local, national. I've just been on the phone today to journalists, right? Now, they have told me, right, off the record, that the Ministry of Justice, the press said, listen, off the record, not on the record, said, listen, we will not be confirming anything reference COVID-19, as it will cause panic and unrest in our prisons. That includes prison deaths, guys, right? The last thing they want in the current climate is for people to riot and for prisoners to riot. Now, when you're seeing these nearly 300 prisoners have tested positive in our prisons, right? You've got to remember, guys, the prison population, it tops out about 86,500, but I think it's currently around 81 to 82,000 prisoners currently in the system. 300 have tested positive. Answer me a question. Do you believe that all 300 prisoners have been tested? Sorry, not all 300. Do you believe that all 82, 83,000 prison officers, prisoners have been tested for this virus? No, of course they've not. Of course they fucking not. So when you get in prison Twitter accounts tweeting, yes, we've got no confirmed cases in our prisons. First thing I tweet back is, well, you're not going to when you're not testing prisons, are you? The facts are what's going on in our prisons is a disgrace. And whilst prisoners are dying, and whilst prisoners are rotting behind the door, like I said, if you're in a cell, right, a small cell, 6x6, 6x8 cell, right, 23 to 23 and a half hours a day, right, in sweltering heat, when you, depending on what sort of like glass is used, sometimes it's perplex with bars and perplex and thick perplex, or just thick glass. What does that do? That magnifies the heat into the cell. That cell essentially becomes an oven. Then you've got prisoners that are going without medication, or I've heard so many stories during this COVID-19 and before COVID-19 as well, that prisoners are not getting their medication. They've taken them off one medication they've been on for years, and they're putting them on some other medication or a lower dose of medication, right? And then, like I said, prisoners are trying to self-medicate but struggling. There's a big drought on within prisons at the moment because obviously there's certain avenues that drugs come in. One of those avenues is through visits, and I'm not blowing anybody up there, it's just a fact. So there's a big drought on there. Prices are going up. They're letting prisoners out on controlled unlocks, so they might let out 8 prisoners at a time, 10 prisoners at a time, 6 prisoners at a time, going on exercise, bring the same, because the people are going out on exercise with the same people day in, day out now. So it might be the same 10 people day in, day out, right? But whilst prisoners are rotting behind the door, whilst the families are panicking, while the families are worrying, these prison accounts, guys, on Twitter, right, they're posting fucking silly TikTok videos. They're in work, they're getting paid, right, and they're dicking about like fucking idiots. And you've got to look, in one of the videos, there must be 30, 40 prison officers and prison staff and nurses and doing all this fucking shit, right, for likes, right? And like I said, then you've got to take into consideration they're doing rehearsals, right? And I'm not being funny. How can you do a 15, 20, 30 second long video and they're all out of fucking sync? And then when one goes left, the other one's going right, and then they're not practicing social distancing and stuff. It makes a mockery, guys. Like I said, the prison service, to an extent, they used to be very professional and stuff, and they used to do it by the book and everything like that. I'm for prisoners, guys. I'm not a screwboy, you understand? But prisoners are rotting behind the door, right? When they're fucking around doing all this dickhead fucking TikTok videos, they could be in the prison, getting the prisoners out, getting them a bit more social, get them on the exercise yard and stuff like that. Actively get them out of the cell and try to give them a bit of mental stimulation. Not standing in a car park like a group of fucking idiots, right? Doing some fucking retarded, fucked up, stupid dance. Like I said, and I'm watching these prison Twitter accounts, and do you know what they're doing? Do you know what they keep doing? Time in, time out, right? They keep posting. They're not posting updates, right? Prisoners' families, right? There's people on Twitter right now, right, tweeting. They've never had, it's prisoners' loved ones, girlfriends, fathers, aunties, uncles, right? They've never had Twitter in their life. They're setting up Twitter accounts to actively engage with people that are active on social media, reference prisons. They're contacting, well, the prison hasn't got a Facebook page, so I'm going on Twitter. They're tweeting, they're relentlessly tweeting these prisons. Can you give us an update? 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 They're posting fucking TikTok videos. Where do you think I'm getting them from? People are sending them to me, and I'm downloading them, and they're going on Twitter as well. And it's fucking cringy, guys. And like I've said, rather than post fucking silly TikTok videos when families and friends are going out of their minds with worry, thinking that their loved one could be the next prisoner to leave prison in a body bag, these lot are posting fucking TikTok videos. And when they're not posting TikTok videos, they're publishing propaganda. And what I mean by that is they suppress the negatives and they push the positives. So when you're being force-fed positives, there's certain people on Twitter that are fucking naive. And they think, oh, oh, well, they tweeted this, so this must be true. They keep putting letters, right? They cover the prisoner's name, I'm not having that it's from a prisoner. Yes, yeah. And what they're doing, it's a letter saying how grateful the prisoners are, that the staff are so engaged and they're doing so much for the prisoners, right? Look at the videos that I posted on my timeline of prisoners kicking off and smashing the windows out and getting everyone to kick the fuck out the doors, right? But the prisons are publishing letters that are allegedly written by a prisoner, right, saying that everything's fine and hunky-dory. There's one aim of that, and that is to try and show that everything's fine and dandy in that prison. Then they're ignoring prisoners' families' complaints and requests, desperate requests for some information because they're panicked. These family members might have anxiety, they might have depression, they might have significant mental health issues. The prisoner might have got significant mental health issues, and they're asking questions and questions and questions, and the prison are just going, and all they're doing is pushing these fucking agendas and these narratives and this fucking propaganda bullshit that everything's fine, everything's hunky-dory. And it's not at all. I have been privy, and I won't go into it, I have been privy to prison officers' chats. I've been sent screenshots from prison officers talking to other prison officers. Right? I can't say more than that, but just trust me when I tell you. And there's serious problems within the prison system, but the prisons are publishing like everything's okay. And like I said, they're ignoring people's requests. And when a family's asking about their son or their daughter, because we've obviously got female offenders, right? And the prison are just putting fucking TikTok, all this fucking shit. One hand, two hands, right? How is that supposed to bring a calmness or a sense of security or reassurance to those prisoners' friends and family? It's simple, it doesn't, guys. Like I've said, it's a fucking joke. And the thing is, you know what makes me laugh as well, and I'm waffling on, guys, but I'm passionate about this. Do you know what makes me laugh, right? On one of these videos, on the compilation that's below, one of the prison officers has got this sort of screwed up face going, what prisoners say at work and all this, and she's like, and then there's an actual video of her. It's like, Miss, I know your name. And then it says, and then she mutes the video and it says my first name, right? But she's actually like beeps it so you can't hear her name. But then in the TikTok at the bottom, it shows that she's called Jasmine Rowley. These are the prison officers that are being recruited by the prison service, guys. Look at the experienced officers that are back in the day. They're being replaced by people that come from working in McDonald's, come from working in B&Q. They've got no life experience. They're wet behind the ears and they think, oh, the stick thin, there's nothing to them. They think, oh, I'm going to go and be an hero and work on a prison, like work on a wing. Being a prison officer, you don't make any impacts and change that prisoner's life in any regard. No, not at all. And like I said, these prison officers, guys, look at the state of them, right? Like I said, at least to some extent, the prison service used to be, they've always been racist and stuff, like institutionally racist, and they've had the problems and everything like that, and a lot of bully boys, right? But there are some good screws out there, and like I said, I'm not a screw boy, but anyone that's been in jail has got to admit there are some good screws, depending on what prison you're in. When I've been in HMP, a handful of screws. When I was in Forest Bank, I got on really well with the screws, I'll be honest with you. Not all of them. There was one or two that I wanted to batter, that had attitude problems, that took the job too serious, swapping the personality for a set of key and for a set of epaulets, but a lot of good screws. But these kids, and that's what they are, guys, the kids, right? They're working on wings, right? Oh, I've got my Russian lashes on, I think I'm pretty, right? Oh, another thing as well, some of the officers within the videos below are actively, one of them's engaged, she's from the Yorkshire area, shall we say. She's engaged. Seeing a little Facebook there with a little picture and a little French bulldog and a fellow. She's only having it away with cons. She's only bringing phones in for cons. She's only sending dirty pictures and dirty videos to cons. And she's in one of the videos. Like I said, this is what's going on within prisons, guys. A lot of these officers within these videos are young, they're inexperienced, they're stupid. And by posting these videos, for me personally, I look and I just laugh and I cringe, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, what these prison Twitter accounts pushing the propaganda, they don't engage because they can't engage. So they push propaganda. This is a letter from a prisoner, from a serving prisoner at our prison. There's nothing to say that prisoners wrote that letter, but they're publishing it. And what it's supposed to do is show that everything is in hand in that prison. The prisoners understand the situation and they're getting on with the officers. Prisoners have lost their visits. They've been locked up behind the door for 23 to 23 and a half hours a day. The medication's been fucked about with, right? The food, fucking hot food seems to have gone out the fucking window. They're getting sandwiches and shit, right? And fucking bread and old fucking ingredients, right? Begging to use the phone if they've not got in-cell telephones. Begging to get a shower. Begging to change the bedding. Begging to get some fresh water, because when I was in Forest Bank, for example, they don't have a kettle in your cell. You've got a hot water tower on the wing. In strange ways, we had a kettle in our cell. So this is what I'm saying to you. So prisoners are begging for stuff, right? Necessities. There are prisons in the prison system, guys, that have not got in-cell sanitation. They haven't got toilets in the cell. Look at the stories, guys, about prisoners slopping out, right? In 2020, there was a story a few weeks ago. I think it was HMP Codingley. And he was throwing fucking human waste out the window. This is what we're coming to, guys. It's not a Dickensian novel, this. This is Britain in 2020, guys, right? And like I've said, the facts are prisoners are not on the government's agenda, right? I keep getting wound up because journalists, right, keep putting, there has been 12 confirmed deaths in prison. No, they fucking hasn't at all. There's been at least 15. And another thing again, I'm going to say it again, right? Thank you to a prisoner at a certain prison that got me information about 2 deaths at all costs, right? Gary Nielsen and Sean Tierney. Gary Nielsen, I believe, was a sex offender, paedophilic images. Sean Tierney, I'm not too sure about, but they got them out. The other, on the weekend, Angela Burkett died at Newhall Prison. She was done for a revenge murder on her street in York, somewhere in the Yorkshire area or somewhere. She died in Newhall Prison, right? So that's your 13th, 14th and 15th, right? And they're only the ones that we know about. Then you've got the ones that I've not come to my attention, that are being swept under the carpet because the Ministry of Justice don't want prison riots and unrest within our prisons, right? It would take 5 minutes, 2 minutes for a prison to form a tweet letting people know the truth of what's going on within prisons. But they're not doing that, guys. They're posting prisoners' letters and they're posting fucking TikTok videos. Answer me a question. How is a TikTok video supposed to give that prisoner's family a sense that everything's okay and everything's in hand when their messages are being ignored and then you're seeing a silly fucking dance thing? It doesn't, guys. This is the thing. They're playing God with prisoners' lives. And it would be funny. These TikTok videos would be piss funny if it wasn't for prisoners leaving prison in body bags. Right? And that's the reality, guys. There are prisoners that are still going to die. If you believe, right, how many deaths have we had in the UK? 16,000? But we're being force-fed that only 12 prisoners have died. Like I said, I know it's at least 15, but there's the rest. If you believe that 16,000 people have died in the whole of England and the UK, right? But you believe that only 12 of them or 15 of them have died in prison. Prison visits continued, social visits continued. We didn't lock down till weeks after Spain and Italy did, right? We've still not peaked at the moment. We're coming to the close to the peak of the virus and the pandemic, right? Social visits carried on. People getting sent to prison. They were still shipping prisoners about. They're still shipping prisoners about, by the way, right? But and then they cancelled all visits. It was too little, too late, right? But we're forced to believe that 16,000 people have died in the whole of the country, young and old, but only 12 prisoners have died in the UK prison system. Not even in the UK prison system, in England and Wales. I'm telling you guys, I'm sorry, I don't do conspiracy theories, but I know that prison deaths are being covered up. And what you need to take into consideration as well, it's not just prison deaths that have been caused by COVID, right? You've also got to take into consideration those prisoners that have got mental health issues in the current climate, that, like I said, might have paranoid personality disorders. Imagine being a prisoner with a paranoid personality disorder or being a paranoid schizophrenic in prisons. And believe me, there's a lot of them that shouldn't be in prison. They should actually be in psychiatric units and hospitals and secure hospitals, low, medium and high, depending on the severity of their offences and stuff, right? And you're told about this virus that's indiscriminately killing people, right? It's not discriminating, it's just killing people left, right and centre, and you're in prison and you've got mental health issues and you might not be getting your medication, or you might be on a lower dose, or they've changed your medication because that's what they do, they fuck with people's lives, right? These prisoners might seek suicide as a way out. And that's the reality, guys. My thing, what I've realised in the last, well, I've known it for a while, but it's coming ever present and ever true, is the sheer amount of suicides I've got. I am literally like Mr. Prison Suicide. Not even prison suicide. I am like Mr. Prison Death. You tell me a name of somebody in this country that has got out as many prison deaths, suicides, medical negligence, murders as me, because they don't exist, right? I work hard with this prison network, and I'm. Do you know what? Since this coronavirus thing, people that I didn't know, people that are in prison, the amount of people that watch my channel is phenomenal, right? Prisoners, prisoner officers, prison governors, I know this for a fact, journalists, prisoners' families, former prisoners, this is what we're working, people that are potentially going to become a prison officer, people that are sons and daughters of prisoners, serving prisoners, former prisoners. I know this because I speak to these people on, like I say, different social medias, WhatsApp, things like that, right? So my channel has a lot of eyes on it. And people, like, you've got these people on Twitter now that are finally waking up to what's going on within our prisons. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they're trying to get like, they've jumped on the bandwagon. I've been doing this for fucking years and I don't get paid for it. And I'm not trying to get paid for it. I don't even want a thank you or nothing. I'm not doing it for a thank you. I do it because it's the right thing to fucking do, right? When it comes to prison deaths, they would rather have it that a prisoner's death is swept under the carpet. I will not let that happen. I will always fight to get that prisoner's name out there. But like I've said, guys, there's so many things going on within the system. But like I said, answer me a question. How is a TikTok video helping prisoners and their families? It's simple, it's not. It's just their own egotistical, trying to go viral for likes and stuff. It's cringy, it's pathetic, it's fucking laughable. Well, it would be if it wasn't for prisoners leaving prisons in body bags. I'm interested to know what you guys think about the videos. Obviously, you guys have been engaging with me and stuff, and people have been putting the comments on the videos. But like I said, how can they post TikTok videos that have probably taken them hours to do the rehearsals, and then they'll do a run through, and then they're doing another run through, and it's like, right, that was shit, let's go again, right? That all takes time, right? It takes 2 minutes to form a tweet or to put a status out, right, to let people know what's going on within that prison. But they're not. They're pushing the propaganda bullshit and TikTok videos, right? Like I said, which helps fucking nobody and makes them a laughing stock. I've seen former prison officers, people like Neil Samworth, right? Neil Samworth worked at Strangeways for a long time. He was a public sector prison officer, HMP, right? Even he's cringing at these fucking videos, guys. The only people that think they're cool are prison officers, but they're not cool at all, especially when prisoners are leaving prison in body bags. Nobody cares. There's a pandemic going on and people are shit scared, and prisoners are shit scared, and their families are shit scared, and prison officers are doing these stupid fucking videos, and it really fucking winds me up. But like I said, another thing, I need to reiterate this as well, that these prison officers that are in these videos will be aware of my channel and aware of the videos. And you know how? Because at least 2 or 3 of them have deleted their videos and have deleted their channels because they've probably been given a bollocking by the senior management. Like I said, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Like, comment, subscribe. Put your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about your video. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me, whatever. Just my opinion as a former prisoner that speaks up for prisoners. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.